Good morning! We're going to be talking about a show called Steven Universe. Steven Universe is a show about some gems that take on a life form and they take care of this little kid named Steven. Steven is a half human, half gem who was formed by his mother. Steven Universe was created by an artist named Rebecca Sugar. She actually dabbled a little bit with a show called Adventure Time. She made most of the soundtrack, as well as she was the creator of 2 episodes. One is called It Came from the Nightosphere, and as well as Simon and Marcy. Those shows were actually nominated twice for an Emmy Award, and she liked how it all ended up, so she decided to make her own show, Steven Universe. She made the show for her little brother. It's mostly based on him, and the gems are all the different personalities and how she wished she could take care of her brother and being around her brother. She decided to make the show no genders, even though the gems do take female pronouns, as well as no race. She did a very colorful scheme, mostly pastel colors with the show. Therefore, there's no really any race in the gems, at least. Around the city that Steven and the gems live in, Beach City, you can see a little bit of different people because there are some humans, but it's not too much since it's based on just the gems. Sugar wanted the gems to identify more as a person rather than a gender, as well as the gems taking on different personalities. Steven is the main character. He is codependent. He sacrifices everything for everyone else. He likes to put others in front of his own needs. Then you have Amethyst. She's counterdependent. She's strong, but she constantly pushes everybody away. She likes to have that tough person persona on the outside rather than showing everyone that she's vulnerable. Then you have Pearl. She's dependent on others. She is very vulnerable. She depends on other people's relationships with her. She cares a lot about what people think about her, but yet she is one of the toughest gems on the show. And then you have Garnet. She's interdependent and she shows equality between 2 people and like mutual relationships. Garnet, what's so special about her is that she is already a fusion. Garnet is made up of 2 different gems, a ruby and a sapphire. So it shows how Ruby is a hothead and she has a short temper and she always wants to fight. And then you have Sapphire, who's very calm, very smart. She can see the future, and that's how Garnet is made. It's made of 2 mutual relationships put together, working together. They also have different dance styles based on how they fight. So Pearl, she's very elegant and precise, just as her gemstone, that she takes on ballet. Then you have Amethyst, who's wild and she fights with a whip. She's more wild, more crazy. She dances dance hall and club dancing. And then you have Garnet. She does this dance called whacking. Now, if you're not familiar with whacking is a dance that was created in the LGBT community a few years back. That's where you whack your hands to the sound of the beat in the music so you match it. Now, besides from that, in the whole show, there's different stuff that they do. They go and fight bad people from space because it's very fiction-based. They just fight together, they communicate and all that, and they all have in common that they must take care of Steven. They all fought for his mother, Rose Quartz, in the past, and as soon as she became Steven, they all decided to take care of Steven because Steven, of course, does look like a little kid. So what Rebecca Sugar was trying to do with the show is that she herself are the gems. So she's very precise and elegant, as in she's Pearl, but she's very vulnerable to what her little brother may think of her. Then you have Amethyst, that's on the wild side. She's like an older kid that never realized that Steven is too young to play with her in the rough style that she always wants to play. And then you have Garnet. Garnet is the more cool, laid-back sibling. So it's really neat how Rebecca Sugar did that with the show. Now, some fun facts or some little things that I really enjoy about the show that I think puts it over the top and is just so great is that there is a person named Ronaldo on the show. He's a human who has a blog who it's called Keeping Beach City Weird. So he blogs things that the Crystal Gems do and just stuff that comes up on the city where they live, because they live in the beach. He actually has a real blog. So if you actually look up Ronaldo Keeping Beach City Weird, you can actually find a real blog that is meant for us to read that's based on the show. Then there's Peridot. Peridot, something really special about Peridot in the show is that she is not a gem. She is a mixture of pearl, which is a pearl, and then she's mixed with another type of rock, and it doesn't necessarily make her a gem. Therefore, she cannot fuse. She actually has a Twitter account named Peridot 5XG, I believe, and in that Twitter account, you can look it up, and she tweets all kinds of stuff that's based on the personality that she has in the show. She has thousands of followers, and she just tweets different stuff about the show or things that may be on her mind, and it's actually ran by all of the different artists that are in the show and that create the show, and it's just ran by it, and I think that's pretty neat because it gives you a little glimpse of the crystal gems being real. Then you have fusion dancing. Fusion dancing is something that the crystal gems do to combine and fuse together. That's how they fight other aliens from other planets, and that's how they become stronger. It is a very sacred dance that they only do with people that they trust and love, therefore the crystal gems. And lastly, of course, again, they all have the one thing in common, and that is to take care of Steven. Steven later on grows up in the show, and everything is great, and they just keep fighting and keeping Beach City weird. And that is why I believe the show is just so great. It's very unique. It's for all ages, and you should give it a try.